how Riyadh Air is building the anti-Emirates. While Emirates moves nearly 90 million passengers through Dubai every year and Qatar Airways funnels another 50 million through Doha, a brand new airline just placed an order for well over 100 aircraft, hired a former Etihad CEO, and publicly announced it has zero interest in playing the game both of them perfected. Riyadh Air isn't trying to be the next Emirates, it's trying to make Emirates obsolete. And the most uncomfortable part for Dubai is that the math actually works. For 2 decades, the Gulf aviation playbook was considered solved. Use your geography, sit between Europe, Asia, and Africa, build a mega hub, buy hundreds of wide-body jets, fly millions of passengers who don't actually want to visit your country, but need to pass through it on their way somewhere else. Emirates perfected this. Qatar Airways copied it. Etihad tried it and nearly went bankrupt doing so. The industry assumed any new Gulf carrier would follow the same blueprint because there was no other blueprint. Therefore, when Saudi Arabia announced Riyadh Air in March of 2023, every analyst expected another super connector. What they got instead was something nobody had a name for yet, and the people running Emirates noticed immediately. To understand why this is dangerous for Emirates, you have to understand the rules of the game they built. Dubai has a local population of around 3.5 million people. Most of them are expatriate workers who fly home, not premium business travelers. Qatar is even smaller, just under 3 million. Neither country has enough domestic demand to fill an Airbus A380 to London on its own. Therefore, both airlines built their entire business model around the 6th freedom of the air, the right to pick up passengers in a foreign country and drop them off in another foreign country, with a stop in your home hub in between. London to Singapore through Dubai, Sydney to Paris through Doha, New York to Mumbai through Abu Dhabi. The passenger doesn't want to be there, they just want the cheapest, smoothest connection. That model required enormous infrastructure. Dubai International became the busiest international airport on Earth. Emirates ordered more A380s than any other airline in the world by a massive margin. Qatar built one of the largest wide-body fleets in the world. The entire operation depended on one assumption, that transit traffic would keep growing forever and nobody nearby would change the equation. But in 2023, somebody changed the equation. Riyadh Air is breaking that game on purpose. Tony Douglas, the former Etihad chief executive now running the airline, said it out loud in interviews. Riyadh Air is not chasing connecting passengers. It is not building a hub. It is not competing for the London to Singapore traveler. Instead, it is architecting what insiders quietly call the anti-Emirates, a premium carrier built entirely around point-to-point origin and destination traffic. And the reason this works comes down to one number nobody outside the region talks about. Saudi Arabia has a population of over 32 million people. That is more than 3 times the UAE and more than 10 times Qatar. The country has a rapidly growing GDP, a massive geographic footprint, and an aggressive sovereign transformation plan called Vision 2030 that is pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into tourism, corporate relocation, and entertainment. Therefore, Riyadh Air does not need transit passengers to survive. It can fill its planes with people whose actual destination is Riyadh, Jeddah, or Neom. Look at the fleet they ordered. Not A380s, not high-density Boeing 777s. Instead, 39 firm orders for Boeing 787 Dreamliners and 60 Airbus A321 Neo narrow bodies. Every single one of those aircraft is optimized for direct, mid-size, point-to-point flying. No megajets that need 400 connecting passengers just to break even. They went further. Riyadh Air eliminated first class entirely. No suites with showers, no onboard bars, no vanity cabins, just dense business class and premium economy aimed at corporate executives and luxury tourists who are actually doing business in Saudi Arabia. Every square foot of every fuselage is engineered for yield, not for Instagram. But the strategic damage goes deeper than aircraft choices. Here is what Emirates cannot do about it. Emirates' entire multi-billion-dollar infrastructure is locked into the transit model. Their A380 fleet only makes economic sense when filled with connecting passengers. Their Dubai mega terminal is built around 6-hour layover waves. Their global scheduling network is designed for hub feeding, not destination flying. Therefore, Emirates cannot simply pivot. They cannot retire the A380s overnight. They cannot unbuild the mega hub. They cannot reconfigure decades of aircraft orders and route economics to chase point-to-point traffic when their competitive advantage was always about scale through transit. Riyadh Air doesn't have to beat Emirates at the transit game. It just has to make the transit game irrelevant for enough passengers. Every business traveler who flies direct to Riyadh for a Vision 2030 meeting is a passenger Emirates never sees. Every luxury tourist heading to the Red Sea project skips Dubai entirely. Every executive relocating their regional headquarters to Saudi Arabia under the new mandate becomes a permanent Riyadh Air customer. The math is brutal. Saudi Arabia is targeting 150 million annual visitors by 2030. Even if half of that materializes, it's a redirection of traffic that the Gulf superconnectors have relied on for 2 decades. Riyadh Air looks like an airline. It functions like a tourniquet on Emirates' growth curve, but the airline was never the real story. Because Riyadh Air isn't really an airline in the traditional sense at all. It is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, which controls over $900 billion in assets. The same fund that owns NEOM, the futuristic linear city being carved into the desert. The same fund that owns Qiddiya, the entertainment megacity outside Riyadh. The same fund that owns Red Sea Global, the luxury tourism development along the western coast. The same fund that bought Newcastle United, signed Cristiano Ronaldo, and reshaped global golf with Liv. Riyadh Air is not a standalone commercial business expected to deliver quarterly returns to anxious shareholders. It is a logistics arm of a sovereign transformation strategy. Therefore, the rules of profitability that govern Emirates, Qatar, and every other legacy carrier simply do not apply here. Emirates needs to make money to justify its existence to the Dubai government. Riyadh Air exists to ensure the entire Vision 2030 plan succeeds. If the airline loses billions for a decade while feeding tourists into NEOM and corporate executives into the new Riyadh business district, that's not a failure. That's the plan working exactly as designed. The investment scale confirms this. Riyadh Air's combined aircraft orders alone amount to tens of billions of dollars at list price. That is more than the entire annual revenue of most national carriers, and the airline hasn't even reached full operational capacity yet. But the most aggressive move was still to come. This is where the strategy stops being about aviation entirely. Saudi Arabia is also building a brand new mega airport, King Salman International Airport, scheduled to open progressively through the early 2030s, is designed to handle 120 million passengers annually by 2030 and 185 million by 2050. For context, Dubai International currently handles around 92 million. The new Riyadh airport will be larger than Heathrow, JFK, and Frankfurt combined in terms of physical footprint, covering roughly 57 square kilometers. Therefore, Riyadh Air is not just launching with an airline strategy, it is launching with an entirely new piece of national infrastructure built specifically to support it. Compare this to Emirates, which has been begging the Dubai government for years to expand or replace Dubai International, with the long-delayed Al Maktoum Airport project still years away from full operational capacity. Saudi Arabia is actively building its mega airport right as Dubai commits tens of billions to rapidly expand its own. But the second layer goes even further than physical infrastructure. Riyadh Air was launched as a digitally native carrier with no legacy IT systems whatsoever. Most major airlines are paralyzed by decades-old reservation platforms, global distribution system fees, and ancient operational technology that eats into every margin. Riyadh Air is built on cloud-native architecture, AI-driven retailing, and direct customer relationships from the very first booking. The company functions less like a traditional airline and more like an e-commerce platform that happens to operate aircraft. Therefore, while Emirates pays hundreds of millions annually in distribution fees and middleman costs, Riyadh Air captures nearly every dollar of revenue directly. Lower overhead, higher margins, better customer data, and by the time legacy carriers attempt to modernize, Riyadh Air will already own the next generation of premium Gulf travelers. The implications for the broader region are seismic. Etihad already restructured away from the mega hub model and returned to profitability by going smaller. Oman Air is doing the same thing on a boutique scale. Gulf Air is following suit. The Gulf Superconnector era is ending in real time, and Riyadh Air is the carrier deliberately accelerating that collapse. The Gulf aviation map is about to be redrawn. For 20 years, 3 airlines defined the region. Emirates owned the long-haul transit market, Qatar Airways owned the alliance and premium connecting market, Etihad owned the failed attempt at copying both. Riyadh Air does not want to be any of them. It wants to own the destination market that didn't exist before because Saudi Arabia was closed to most tourism. Therefore, the competitive threat isn't that Riyadh Air will steal Emirates' connecting passengers. The threat is that those passengers will stop needing to connect at all. Direct flights from London to Riyadh, direct flights from New York to Jeddah, direct flights from Singapore to Neom once that airport is operational. Every direct route is a stake driven into the transit model. The full picture is brutal for the legacy Gulf carriers, but here is the part nobody has answered yet. Emirates still has the largest international airline operation on Earth. Qatar Airways still dominates global alliance traffic. Both have decades of brand equity, route rights, and customer loyalty that Riyadh Air does not yet possess. So the real question is whether Riyadh Air can actually deliver on this strategy fast enough before Emirates and Qatar adapt or before global travel patterns shift again. The first commercial flights to London are scheduled to begin in late 2025. The fleet is still being delivered. The mega airport is still being built. The Vision 2030 deadline is still 5 years away. And the entire experiment depends on one assumption that has never been tested at this scale, that a sovereign wealth fund can manufacture an aviation superpower from nothing in less than a decade. Whether Riyadh Air actually breaks Emirates or becomes the most expensive aviation failure in modern history will be decided in the next 36 months.